Hey guys, this is Joe from the Extinct Joe's Corner, and we got some commentary for you guys that we're gonna get to because Oscar wants me to do some commentary about this game that we played. So we're playing on Lackey. I'm playing a Flute red burn deck that I made up, and Oscar is playing a tree deck with the new tree. Echoes of the New World tree. And so yeah, the idea of this deck is to kind of abuse the seals, the new seals that are in the new set, and basically just burn your opponent. But it's pretty difficult because Oscar has a 60 card deck, and whenever you deal damage to him, he just exiles cards from the top of his deck. But so the idea of the deck is that you use Flute to basically continually draw burn spells and stuff like that, and never have and never kind of run out of burn spells. So the key to the deck is playing Flute's Water Dragon, which I'm playing right now, and then that'll let you call stone without having to rest your Flute, your ruler, which is great. So anyways, I mulligan like 4 cards and play my Flute. I'm going first this time, and I'm gonna pass the turn to Oscar round here. And so yeah, we're gonna see how this deck plays up against this kind of tree deck. So Oscar's gonna play the Orb of Disaster. He's gonna exile the top card of his deck. I'm gonna lower some settings, which doesn't matter because I muted everything. Just waiting for Oscar's gonna call stone. Now I'd never played against this kind of deck, so it's pretty interesting seeing what kind of how the deck plays, and yeah. So go to me. I'm gonna draw. I'm gonna call stone with my Water Dragon, which is great because usually after this I would just draw another card with my ruler by tapping her, but I forget until later on Oscar's next turn, which is frustrating. But so I'm gonna play Nyarlathotep, the Realized Truth, and basically what she does is she unlocks seals on all my fire cards and spells. So below there I also have Refarth, the Floating Castle, and what that does is it lets me block flying. But what I really use it for is when the seal is unlocked, I can tap it to deal 500 damage. So that's kind of like a nice good control removal. This deck isn't all burn. It's a mix between kind of burn and and dealing with threats. So I'm gonna call stone. I've got my that Crimson ability there, which deals 700 damage if the seal's awakened. And then I've also got my Red Riding Hood, which gets swiftness and flying if her seal's awakened, which is she's already awakened regardless of Nyarlathotep. So I'm gonna swing in for 4. Oscar's gonna mill the first top 4 of his deck. I'm just taking a look at what I got. I've got Crimson Sanction. That's kind of one of the cool burn spells that I wanted to play base this deck around, being able to cast that and hit for 7 damage. So I'm gonna play Red Riding Hood. She's gonna swing in for another 4, and then I'm not sure what I'm gonna do now. I think I might try and Crimson him, but no. So I'm just gonna buff her +2, -2, which will put him at 6. He's gonna exile 6 cards. So Oscar's deck is pretty interesting in that it's pretty resilient against losing because it's hard to deal 60 damage instead of 40 damage. 6,000 damage instead of 4,000. So I'm gonna play my Crimson Sanction. I'm trying to get. So Oscar's gonna cancel out with his Severing Winds, which is a really great card. That's unfortunate for me, but nothing I could have done there. I would rather have the Red Riding Hood stick than have just the 7 damage. So I'm gonna put on Oscar's up to 3 will 4 with his energize. Let's see what he's gonna do. I think he had 5 cards in his hand. So here I'm just gonna checking his what he has is in his removed area. He's got the Rezards and the Yggdrasil Beast, which can be played from the removed area. So that's that's kind of a threat, but you know, exile a couple other things. Orb isn't really too big of an issue right now. He doesn't even have the mana, so I'm not sure what Oscar's going to be doing. But I can play pretty safe. I've got Blazing Castle Refarth next turn, and then I've got Bear Magic. So he's gonna Memory to Memoria my Red Riding Hood. Not really anything I can do there. I was just checking what Flute's flip side did there. So he's gonna bolt my Flute's Water Dragon, which is really great because it's gonna stop me from drawing a card next turn. Which is definitely I think that's a key to this Flute deck, is getting those Water Dragons out, because you start, like, the draw engine that Flute gives you is just really nice. So that was definitely a blow for me, but what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna get very lucky, and I'm thinking about if I just want to try and draw another Flute, since the deck is also designed to not need a lot of mana. I think the most expensive cards in it is just 2 mana. So after thinking for a little bit, I'm gonna go ahead and end up drawing a card pretty soon here. Well, okay, so first I'm going to attack for 4, just to get some damage in. I'm thinking if I want to play my Blazing Castle, or if I want to, what my next play is going to be. It's probably just to play the Nyarlathotep next turn, or this turn. So this is probably a pretty risky play, trying to draw into another Flute. It usually, after playing this was my first time playing this deck, so actually, I do end up getting the Flute, but I probably wouldn't recommend doing that if you're playing the deck. Like losing out on mana just to draw a card, while it is what the deck wants to do, it might not be the best use of it's definitely situational. So here I also forget to take 3 to lose 3 life, but I'll end up fixing that later, so it's all okay. Alright, so yeah, so I'm just gonna play Nyarlathotep, my second copy, and I'm gonna pass the turn. There's nothing too much else I can do. Rainbow Arrow is interesting in this deck, since it works well with Red Riding Hood, and it's some pretty good board wipe for just 1 mana. You obviously have to have Red Riding Hood, but so I was gonna draw his card, Callstone. It's up to 5 mana, so I'm kind of scared. He hasn't really been doing much, so which has been great for me. But his deck still has 36 cards in it, so that's quite a bit for me to try and get through. So here he is. He's gonna tap 2 to play a Rezard from his hand, I believe. Yeah. And then that Rezard's gonna be pretty big. So here I'm just gonna count it up. He's got 9. He's got 9 Resonators in his removed from play area, so that Rezard's gonna be 14. Yeah, 14, which is pretty big. And then he's gonna play the Rook Egg. He's gonna pass turn. And, I'm not really worried about the root egg at all. Definitely don't want to kill it. Both of my Nyarlathoteps are flying, so that's great for me. So I draw here. I'm debating whether or not I want to hit him with Bear Magic right now, or if I maybe want to save it in case he has that one green up for Wall of Wind. Or if he has any cancel spells. So I'm gonna call Stone, and this is definitely where. So I'm gonna take 6 here, but this is definitely where the deck shines. Is like when you can keep Flute's Water Dragon out for a long time, you just get a ton of value, like drawing 2 each turn. It's almost like playing Reflective Rain again, but not really because it's a lot more fragile. So I ended up playing Blazing Castle Refarth, because I'm planning on burying him and then doing 5 damage with that. So he ends up keen sensing it. So, unfortunately, my first Blazing Castle is gone. I'm gonna try and get another one to stick. I checked that he only has 2 cards, so I'm not expecting another Shivering Winds or Severing Winds. Luckily, this one is able to actually stick. So and then because of the Nyars, its seal is awoken, so I can do 5 damage to something. So since he didn't cancel that, so I'm gonna tap to draw my my Flute. Since he didn't cancel that that Blazing Castle, I'm gonna go ahead and try and do the Bear Magic combo. So first I'm gonna swing in for 4, and then 4 more, just to see if just in case, I don't know, I could like bait something out. But unfortunately, we get in a minor miscommunication here. And I said, take 4 and then 8, and he thought that meant take 4 damage and then 8 more damage. But yeah, so he ends up putting out way too many cards. So those 4, we made sure that they went back in the deck. But so our bad there. He was only supposed to exile 8 cards. And there's me checking what cards he's gonna put back on the top of the deck. I wasn't really like checking, but I was just like hovering my mouse over there just to like count them and stuff. Because that'd be pretty rude if I actually knew what was coming next. Anyway, so I've got that 8 damage down. I think Oscar's down to around 20-ish cards, which is definitely a good spot for me to be in. He's pretty low. Oh, I missed how much his deck was there. Oh, I'll get it on when I check next. So his Rezzard goes up again, which if I wanted to maybe use the 5 damage from Blazing Castle Refarth and then another burn spell, he's out of burn range. But instead, I'll just bear him, and then I'll tap the Blazing Castle for the last 500 damage. Which is definitely, I definitely really like Blazing Castle when its seal is awoken is unlocked, because it does it does 500 damage. It combos really well with Bear Magic. You can if you have it untapped at the beginning of your turn, you can tap it and then untap it and then tap it to hit for 1,000. So Oscar's going to tap his tree and 2 more to bring out Rezzard again. So I'm not too worried because I can obviously remnant that Bear Magic. I've got a ton of burn spells. As long as I think Oscar has 3 cards on his hands, so, and he's at 27. He's at 27 cards in his deck. So I need to get through 27 more life, which is quite a bit. But this deck ended up being a little more control-y than I was thinking. It has a lot of burn, but a lot of the matches I felt like maybe I could put in a little more burn spells, but But overall, I think the deck is interesting. I need to I need to tweak it a little bit. It was definitely like a red blue burn with like based around the seals. So I think I have a lot of the red sealed cards in the deck. So I'm gonna draw. I'm gonna tap Flute to draw again, which is great. Um, the the ability for the deck to replenish your hand is also just really powerful. That's probably the reason I enjoy playing it a lot. Is because if you have Flute out and you keep him out for a long time, he just Flute's Water Dragon, you get a ton of value from resting Flute to draw a card. So I'm just gonna Remnant the Bear Magic. He's not gonna be able to do anything. Tap a red and throw down Memory to Memoria, which was a misplay. Since I did have the Blazing Castle up, I could have just used that to do the 500 damage, which leaves me 500 less damage when I try and mill through the deck. Yeah. So here I'm realizing, oh man, I could have done Memory. I could have done Blazing Castle instead. Anyway, so I'm gonna swing in for 4 with Nyar. Also is going to tap a mana, but untap it because I assume he thought the card was instant. So he's gonna mill 4. So getting rid of those lightning strikes is pretty great since the deck does rely on keeping Flute safe. There's another lightning strike gone, a Severing Winds. That's really good. Here's me just putting the seal unlock on Flute because I forgot about it. I think he reached it last. His seal is 5, I believe. But so then I swing in with Red Riding Hood, so he mills another 4. He's down to I missed it again. He's down to the 10s, I believe. I think he's at 18-ish. So I'm gonna hardcast Nyar. Second one, and I'm just kind of looking what I want. I'm probably gonna hang on to everything so that I have some quick cast options. Bolt and Rainbow Arrow. So I'm gonna pass turn. Oscar's gonna call Stone. So he's up to 5 mana. I've got a pretty big board. Pretty much got lethal next turn. A lot of things I can do. He's gonna Heteroclite Excalibur my Nyar. I think that's a pretty good target for that. So it's gonna remove from game. It doesn't really matter. That's a great card in that deck because you never worry about losing life. So it's pretty much a free card. I assume that's also what he wanted. I assume that's what he wanted to play last turn, but Heteroclite's not an instant. So he's gonna tap 1. I cut out a little bit of this because he was thinking about what play you want to do. So he's gonna do some math. He's gonna bring out the Final Battle back into his hand with Memory of Disappearance. So he's gonna pay 200 life rather than 1 up to X times to play this card, which is super good in this deck because he's just gonna basically, I think he's gonna tap 2 just to get just to not have to pay a little extra life, which is fine. And then he's gonna pay, I believe he paid 16 to do 800 to Flute. So he deals 800 damage to my entire board, which is some really good board wipe. There's obviously nothing I can do here. I don't have any remnant cards, the deck doesn't run cancels, or I can't buff anybody because Nyar's ability gives people +2 -2, which is unfortunate because if you use it, it puts her into lightning strike range and a lot of other 500 damage spells. So I'm just like, all right, well, there goes my board. Luckily, I have Oscar pretty low though right now. I think he's at, let's see, I'm pretty sure I checked pretty soon. So he's at 14 right now. Yeah. And then he taps out to bring back a Yggdrasil, I believe. Yeah, Yggdrasil is also a very cool card that fits well in this deck. I like 2 mana for a 9/9. I think it's definitely valuable. So I'm gonna draw. I'm gonna tap my Blazing Castle to do 500 damage to Yggdrasil. And then I'm gonna think about if I want to bolt him with my remaining mana, but probably not, since I have so much mana. I'm gonna recover all. I'm just gonna draw with Flute here since I don't need any more mana. You know, trying to basically find you know, that last 14 damage. I'm at 5 already, so I'm gonna play Nyar just to. Oh, okay, so sorry. So what had happened earlier is that I thought I had the Blazing Castle, but I actually didn't have because it's a Seal 7. So I'm gonna play the Truth of Time, which is a Seal 6. So I have 6 out right now. I'm gonna draw 2 off of it. This is a great card. This also really helps in the Flute mat. So I'm up to 1,000. I'm up to 1,000 damage. So luckily I draw into an extra Truth of Time, and I'm just gonna throw that down. Draw 2. This really replenishes your hand. Is a super good cantrip. So luckily I get Crimson Sanction, and I have my Nyar out, so it's gonna have its seal unlocked. I'm gonna play the Flames of Nyarlathotep. Its seal is you produce 3 red mana, so I'm gonna Memory him for my 1 red mana. I'm gonna Crimson Sanction him, and I'm gonna Lightning Strike him for game. Alternatively, I do have the Red Riding Hood who could swing in for another 4, but pretty much that's the end of the first game. Luckily, I was able to, you know, I dug like 5 cards deep, which is pretty crazy considering. So we're gonna go to game 2. Yeah, game 2 is gonna be pretty interesting. So yeah, like I basically drew 1 with Flute. I drew 2 more with Truth of Time, and then 2 more on the second Truth of Time. So you know, and I drew into 3 possible damage sources: Red Riding Hood, Crimson Sanction, and Memory to Memoria, I believe. And so you know that definitely. So you know the deck. The good part of about the deck is that it definitely has the draw power with Flute. So here I'm just checking how many other Truth of Times I have. I don't have any shuffle power in this deck, so whatever I put on the bottom is going to stay on there. So your mulligans are going to be very interesting. So you know, basically I'm looking for a Flute's Water Dragon right now. I mulligan 5. I didn't find anything. Oscar's going first, I believe. So you know, basically just looking like, what do I have? Can I tap? Can I try and do what I did last turn? Tap Flute and draw a card. But unfortunately, the deck that I was playing with is 43 cards right now. Since I wasn't sure what I could cut. But Sauce's gonna play his red black special magic stone, and he's gonna pass. Not really gonna do much. So I'm gonna. So this is another technically illegal move we were discussing. You can tap Flute to draw a card, which I'm gonna do here, but she actually doesn't recover on the start of your turn. Since on the first turns both, we found out that that was a bad play when we asked later. But we're gonna you know, it's unfortunate, but I'll just have an extra one card advantage, which is pretty good. So that's pretty bad. But so obviously I don't hit a Flute from that either. So I'm just gonna call Stone because it puts me way too far behind to be that low on you know, that low versus you know, that like a -1 Stone advantage is too much for just a +1 card advantage. So I'm gonna tap 1, play Red Riding Hood, throw her down. Unfortunately, I can't play the Nyar or a lot of other cards because Flute energizes blue, and it's just unfortunate. He's gonna Memory to Memoria my Red Riding Hood, which sucks because I can't do anything about that. Don't have a lot of like cancels or anything for that. A lot of burn. So that's unfortunate. And then he's pretty much gonna pass the turn. Or did he just Memory to Memoria me on his upkeep? Did that happen? He can't do that because Memory isn't a quick cast. Ooh, Oscar. Oscar. I mean, I guess he could still do it since the Memory creates a red anyways. But he definitely should. So he's not allowed to. You're obviously Memoria doesn't have quick cast. So my misplay counters his misplay, and we both misplay, which is great. It's great. So I'm gonna call Stone again because I'm not gonna risk trying to draw with Flute again. It was kind of a fluke last game, and I definitely don't think getting the -1 will advantage is worth it at this point. Maybe if I had like 3 or 4 stones, I'd be willing to risk it. But so there's also not too much I can do right now, just besides try and counter whatever he's gonna play with the bear magic. I definitely have a lot of removal options right now. I've got bear magic. So Oscar ends up lightning striking me, and then reveals Memory of Flame for 6 more. So he's also playing a pseudo tree burn deck, which is interesting. Which is the first time I think during both the games that he's actually burned me with the burn spell. But anyway, so he's gonna do that at the start of his turn. Tap 1 to play a Rook Egg. Pass turn. I'm gonna draw, recover all. I got a Flute, which is unfortunate because it means last time I could have tapped my ruler to draw a card. Anyways, I'm gonna use the Energize to play the Flute. Call Stone with the Flute. Pay 300, and then I'm gonna draw a card with Flute, which is great. She has some her ability to draw a card is just great. It's basically the only reason to play like a burn deck with her, since a lot of the issues like burn decks run into is that they drop their hand very quickly early in the game. Anyways, I'm gonna swing for 4, and Flute really is able to I'm actually thinking of putting more draw power into this deck, taking out some of the burn spells since versus Oscar and versus there's some decks that are less resonator heavy. So I could do a sideboard with more draw power, but because the draw power is pretty crazy in this deck. I'm gonna Crimson Sanction Oscar for 7. Just start getting that damage down. It is not gonna resolve because Oscar tells me no. Keen senses it, so I'm okay with that. I'm gonna try and get my blazing Refarth castle to stick. Hope he doesn't have a severing winds or anything. And so that's good. I'm not gonna burn his Rook Egg because that's dumb. And then I'm just gonna pass. So now whatever he plays, I have the option of dealing 1,000 damage to it, since I can tap blazing Refarth at the beginning of my turn and then in the middle of my turn, which is really great because I have the seal unlocked with Nyar. It's the Blazing Castle is an interesting card that I definitely feel like it's pretty good in conjunction with Bear Magic, and it's just the first effect doesn't really. I definitely didn't get it for that. I just felt like having like a damage, like something to deal with threats like that is pretty good. So I'm gonna call Stone, draw with Flute. You know, at this point, Flute's given me a ton of card advantage and some really good value, which is definitely stoppable if you just burn the water dragon, but then you're wasting spells on a water dragon. So I'm gonna play Red Riding Hood, swing in. She already has her. She's a pretty interesting card. I wasn't sure if I liked her, but with the way the deck runs, you almost always will have her sealed regardless of if you have Nyarlathotep either at all, because the way this deck is designed, you're probably never gonna play her until turn 3 anyways. Maybe turn 1, but by then you can't have a Nyar out on the field anyways. So I swing with the Nyar. I pump her up +2, -2, so Oscar's gonna discard 6. I hit 2 Severing Winds, which is very, very lucky, which is awesome. So now I'm considering playing Water Dragon, but I think I'm just gonna hang on to what I have, and try and deal with what Oscar, with any kind of cards that Oscar's gonna play. I've got 2 Bear Magics in my hand. I've got my Blazing Castle, so I can kill. Like, there's a lot of stuff that I can kill. Even I can fight through like 2 cancels on my turn, and then before I untap. So I definitely feel like the deck has some okay answers to Resonators right now. I wish it does struggle a little bit against 600 defense monsters. Like, I was playing later on I was playing versus Prisha, and Lancelot and the new Sylvia card both have 600 defense, and it was pretty hard to deal with them just because that 1 damage is tough to get. So Oscar is going to play Keep With The Present for Dandy. It's a pretty I definitely like it in this deck. It basically is a 1 cost 1,000 right now, since Oscar has more than 10 remove cards in his graveyard. He's going to remove the Yggdrasil from play, which is also really great because then he can just play it from his remove from play area. So I'm definitely he can definitely field some good stuff. He's gonna play the orb. Just remove a card from the top of his deck, I believe. Yeah, remove a card from the top of your deck. So he's gonna remove another Yggdrasil. So that's fine. He's got 2 in there. I think he's going to play 1 and keep 2 mana up for something else, if I remember correctly. So at this point, I'm still not very worried, because like I said, I can fight through like 4 counter spells with just my Bear Magic, with Graveyard and then Remnant, and then Graveyard and Remnant. I've got draw power with Flute. So now I'm gonna I'm gonna hit him with the Bear Magic. Before I untap, I'm gonna Remnant it to hit the other guy. Yeah, I'm gonna hit the other guys. So now they're both 4/4 bears. At this point, I'm debating whether or not I want to use my board wipe with Rainbow Arrow, but in the end, Blazing Castle, this is what it's made for. It hits him, and then it's gonna hit Verdant also. It gives me a ton of value. So I've pretty much dealt with his board. I'm gonna start trying to get some more damage down. I'm gonna call Stone with Water Dragon. So good. Pay 300 life. Definitely not. If you're earning burn, you're probably gonna win or lose fairly soon. Gonna put that seal on. Unlock the seal on him. Gonna do 2. I'm not gonna do 2. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna do. Yeah, I like that. It's not like I need anything. I'm gonna draw with Flute at some point, I hope, because gotta keep my hand fresh. Okay, so I'm just gonna swing in for 4. Gonna swing in for 6 because I'm gonna mine it +2 -2 her. What is Oscar at? Come on, I'm pretty sure I checked pretty close in here. So I get Rezzard, burn spell, 2 burn spells. Oh, I missed what he was at. I was focusing on what he was discarding there. So getting another flute. That's basically 3 flutes in a row, I think, that I've gotten. Maybe 2 flutes. Definitely 2 flutes in a row. That's water dragons. That's unfortunate. Oh, I meant okay. So he's at 29. So 29 is not bad, but still definitely a ways to go for a burn deck. Luckily, I have a pretty great board right now. I'm going to swing in for another 4. Those are pretty much nothing there except for the Heteroclite Excalibur is very worthwhile. Saucer's at 25, I think that was. 29 minus 4 is 25. Saucer's gonna tap his 2, bring back a card. I cut a little bit. I'm just checking what kind of options he has. He's gonna go for the Heavenly Gust. I'm not sure I agree with that. I don't think. I mean, Blazing Castle is good, and I'm definitely gonna kill him. Anything he puts out with Bear Magic and Blazing Castle, but I don't know. It's definitely a threat with the Seal 7 and the Nyarlathoteps out there. So I can definitely understand bringing that out. So Oscar's at 24. He's got 4 cards in hand. One of those is a Heavenly Gust. The other 3, I don't think he has any cancel spells still. So I get hit with a final battle. This is unfortunate because just like last time, I'm gonna get board wiped. And nothing I can do. I'm looking at it. He's gonna pay 16 life to make sure he hits my flute since it has 8 defense. So I get board wiped, but I'm pretty confident right now that I can bring this back. I've definitely I saw my J activation if I need to. This is also me thinking, oh man, it'd be great if I could use that on his turn because I could get all of that back. So I'm gonna draw. I'm looking at it. I think he had 23. It's close. This is also we're gonna go into another big misplay here that I didn't realize at the time, but everything works out, so it's all good. So I'm gonna recover all. I'm not gonna burn them or anything. I'm gonna draw with Flute because obviously I have the water dragons in hand. I'm gonna call stone. I'm gonna put a seal on. Call stone. There we go. Yeah. So I'm gonna throw in my Red Riding Hood. She's already got her seal off, so that's gonna be 4 damage to Oscar, which is great. Let's see. I'm debating whether or not I want to keep burning him or save it. He's at, I think that was 19 or 18. I don't remember. So this is where I start. I was thinking that Rainbow Arrow did 4 damage and then 4 to everything else. If I had Red Riding Hood on the field, but actually I need to rest a recovered Red Riding Hood, and I know that. So Oscar's at 19. So let's he untaps. I'm just thinking like I don't think he still doesn't have any cancels. He's gonna draw 1, so he's gonna go down to 18, right? He's gonna play. He's gonna play Guinevere, and I definitely don't want him to be able to. I'm currently up in card advantage. I've been up in card advantage. I don't want him to draw any answers or get anything. So I'm probably gonna bolt that at the end of his turn. I've got Lightning Strike and I've got Rainbow Arrow that can both kill her. So he's gonna play 1 more to play another Rook Egg, I believe. Oh no, he's gonna play Yggdrasil. So Yggdrasil's good. So now I'm getting a little worried since, luckily, something that I also didn't realize, both of the water dragons have flying, and so does my little red. But so I'm pretty confident that I can deal 400 damage and deal 400 to both of the, deal 400 damage to the rest of his board. Unfortunately, that's not how that works. He also cancels it anyways, but so Rainbow Arrow is gonna be canceled. I'm pretty salty because I was hoping that that would kill him and wipe his rook eggs out. Since at the time I thought that's how the card worked. Anyways, I need to get rid of that, so I'm just gonna lightning strike it. In retrospect, I probably could have held that lightning strike up, swung for lethal with my flyers. I just did not realize that they had flying, because that's definitely 2,400 damage right there in the air, guaranteed. So luckily I top decked a Truth of Time, so I'm gonna throw that down, draw 2 more since it's got its seal awakened. I top deck another Truth of Time, which is amazing. That's a super good card. So I'm gonna draw 2. At this point, I've pretty much, so this is where the misplay happens. I'm gonna use 1 to play my Rainbow Arrow. Also, Oscar's at 0 cards in hand. I'm gonna use 1 to play my Rainbow Arrow, and okay, so I'm gonna play the Flames first, I believe. Yeah. And I'm going to sack it to get 3, since its seal is already awakened. So with 1, I'm going to play the Rainbow Arrow. I'm going to do 4 damage, and this is where the misplay happens. I'm going to do 4 to the Rook Eggs, so the Rook Eggs shouldn't die here. It ends up okay because I have exactly 1900 damage on board with the Memory, the two Water Dragons, and the Red Riding Hood. So technically I still have lethal, but it was definitely a misplay that I did not realize it. I have to rest my Red Riding Hood. So right now I'm pretty much just thinking, oh man, I don't have like my flyers, but I can attack and send them to the top of his deck. Oscar's out of hands. So he was at 19. He's at 17 now since he drew both those from his deck. So that's a misplay. I still ended up having lethal, but because we messed up, it's not really that fair. So I'm gonna Memory to Memoria him. He's gonna discard 5, and then I've got 1,400 more on the board, with flying, and that's pretty much gonna be it. So Oscar concedes. This is me just Bear Magic being Yggdrasil, since he technically kind of had 4 damage marked on him. Not that that exactly works how it's supposed to, but that's pretty much the end of the game. Yeah, I think it's a pretty good deck. Barring some of the misplays that we had on both sides, and barring that, I think the deck is interesting. There's definitely some tweaks. I had flame traps in it. I took them out. I'm not sure if I'm going to be using them in the future. I already feel like I have some decent answers for stuff. The deck is really based around Water Dragon and your Ruler, and replenishing your hand. This is us just I was just going, okay, yeah, you can swing in the air with flying. And me not realizing that they all had flying when they awakened their seal. Yeah, so the deck's very dependent on the Water Dragon. So if it gets canceled turn 1, or if it gets burned, it's good because they're wasting one of their burn spells on a 1 mana guy. But it's also bad because you're losing your draw engine with Flute. Anyways, yeah, I hope you guys like the deck, and thanks for watching.